Welcome to Elite Expert Insider Podcast, where we will inspire, motivate, and educate entrepreneurs, innovators, and growth seekers. Brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, making the best and brightest in the industry #1 best-selling authors. 80% of people say they want to write a book. We're assuming that's the same for you. If so, contact us at www.eliteonlinepublishing.com and make your book a reality. Hey everyone, welcome. It's Melanie Johnson along with Jen Foster. Hey Jen.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
It's going great. Remember to subscribe to our podcast. Hit that button because we always bring you great guests. We inform you, we inspire you, we motivate you. So make sure you subscribe, hit that button, and also share it with your friends. We would love that. And if you're thinking about writing a book, we would love to publish it for you. Jen and I own Elite Online Publishing, and we make every single one, yes, every single one of our authors #1 bestsellers on Amazon. So we would love to talk to you if you're interested in writing a book or thinking about writing a book. Well, today we're going to talk about how you can turn your hobbies into a successful business. Wouldn't that be cool? Like you're doing something that you love and then all of a sudden you can make money on it? That would be awesome. And then he started when he was 19, and what got him to be a successful entrepreneur and sell his business already was Limitless Thinking. And he wrote a book on Limitless Thinking. We have Jeet, I'm going to get it right, Jeet Banerjee, and he's an author of 2 books, and he's here to share his wisdom on becoming an entrepreneur and how to turn your hobbies into a successful business. Welcome, Jeet.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Excited to be on here.
Great. Well, Jeet, tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to write these books and kind of the way you got into this and writing the 2 books.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually my entrepreneurial journey began when I was about 15 years old. So I grew up in a very traditional family. So my dad one day woke up, came to my room when I was in high school and was like, hey, you need to go get a job. And he was just kind of on my case about it. So I went out and I started getting any job a 15-year-old would get, pretty much like minimum wage, after school, part-time stuff. And so I got a bunch of these different jobs over the next 2 years of high school. And something kept happening over and over again. I either got fired from every job or kept quitting from every single job. And over 2 years, I had 12 different jobs, which was not pretty normal. And so eventually I got to the point where I was getting ready to apply to colleges and stuff like that when I was 17. But the idea, my whole plan in life now was, I'm going to go to college, work a 9 to 5, and everything was going to be great. But now I became extremely fearful of the idea of working 40 hours a week when I couldn't work 10 to 12 hours a week part-time. So I kind of just started one day trying to figure out what was wrong with me. So I almost started kind of Googling my so-called symptoms. I went on Google and I ended up finding this video from Richard Branson where he kind of talked about how if you feel unemployable, you keep getting fired and you have these feelings, you probably destined to be an entrepreneur. And so at 17, I was like, man, that video really related to me. I've always been extremely impatient. And so for the first time, my impatience actually paid off because I was like, okay, it's time for me to go out and start my own business. So at 17, I started my first business. It was like a multimedia agency. So we just did a lot of web design, web development, and online marketing services for different people. And I ended up growing that company over the next 2 years to about 19 to 20 employees. And eventually after 2 years, I also sold the business for a profit. So that was really what got me started and it taught me a ton about entrepreneurship. And that kind of led to my own TED Talk. And from there, that kind of catapulted me into learning and gaining all this information. And then I had a lot of other young entrepreneurs that kind of wanted to follow in my footsteps, which kind of led me to writing the book that I wrote.
So how would you say we both have teenagers, Jen and I do. Mm-hmm. So how would you advise someone, whether they're a teenager or in their 20s or 30s or reinventing themselves, what are some of the first steps to take from having a hobby, having something that you love and turning it into a business?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing that you really have to do is you just have to find a way to make money doing it or make it profitable, so to speak. Because a lot of people have great hobbies, whether it's arts and crafts stuff or things that they're just very good at. But I think people become very fearful of adding a price tag to something or telling somebody, I'm going to charge you X amount for whatever it is that we're going to do. And so I think that's the first step, is just figuring out a business model. If you're going to turn your hobby into a business, you really need to figure out how to put a dollar sign on it or how to make money doing it. So I think that's the first step. And I think the second step is just feeling comfortable, asking somebody for money in exchange for something else. And I think that's like the thing that most people struggle with. But like, me being an entrepreneur, you guys owning your own businesses, you guys know you guys have your own value for your services, your products, etc. So you guys put a price tag on it, and it's either person A pays it or they don't, and it's okay. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people are fearful when turning hobbies into businesses, is figuring out, oh, how much should I charge? Is it okay for me to charge this? And I just typically tell people, like, figure out what you think something is worth and don't charge a dime less than that, because you should get paid what you're worth for doing whatever it is that you do.
Yeah, I think that fear of rejection, right? Like you're fearing that you're going to price too high and they're going to say no. But saying what you just said is, it's okay. If they say no, it's okay, because then you can just go find the next client, because you are worth that amount that you set for yourself. So I think that's really important. So would you say that you need a mentor? Like, you found that video with Richard Branson, and did he become your mentor and kind of your coach? I mean, did you keep following him, or how did that all work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wouldn't really say I ever had like one go-to mentor that kind of like walked me through everything from step A to the end. I definitely had some mentors, like I think for me it was like, okay, like I'm struggling with accounting today. I don't know a thing about it. Let me try and reach out to some people that are like specialized in accounting and see if they can help me out and answer a couple questions. So I think along the way I had a lot of mentors that kind of helped me with a lot of different things. And it wasn't like very hands-on stuff. It was like, okay, I've got this major question, I'm stuck. Let me see if someone can help me out. And I'd reach out to like 5 or 10 people until someone helped me out. But for the most part, like the way I kind of classify my entrepreneurial journey kind of starting off was I kind of literally just like jumped out of a plane and learned to build a parachute on the way down. So I had no idea, I had no experience building a business, didn't even know how to open a bank account, any of these types of things. And as each obstacle or challenge kind of came up in my journey, I was like, oh, cool, let me Google this, or let me watch a video, or let me ask someone and figure out how to do it. And just over the years, going through the lessons every single day, I just kind of became well-versed and experienced in everything.
Yeah, I love that you built your team. Like you were saying, if you didn't know accounting, you either figured it out or you asked someone who knew accounting. So building that team, and you said you hired up to 20 people. So how did that process work? Like, I know that most entrepreneurs, they get in this thing where they become their own job and they just work themselves at 9 to 5 or longer.
Mm-hmm.
And then they never outsource or never hire someone. So tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when I first started out, I was kind of the same way, where I just wanted to be in control of everything. But it became really hard because when I started my first business, I was still in school. So I was still attending college full time and trying to run the business. So it almost became a thing of like a necessity. Like I just would not be able to deliver to my clients and customers if I didn't have, help and a team to build around. And then once I kind of hired my first couple employees and I saw, hey, you can really like lean on somebody else, like other people can get things done the way that you want them done as well, I became really comfortable. And then for me, it was just about like, okay, I want to grow this like 10x, 20x. I want to scale this business, make more money, get more clients, all that stuff. So at that point, hiring just kind of became a natural thing for me.
In your book, Limitless, explain that thought process for you. What does that mean to you? Define that.
Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like, to me, limitless thinking, I named my book that just because when I first started and made the decision to be an entrepreneur, everyone around me, including my friends and family, all told me it was the worst idea I could ever do at the age of 17. And so like, they almost made me feel like I was crazy for thinking, like, my whole thought process was like, why not? Like, if this guy can be an entrepreneur, why can't I be an entrepreneur at 17? So I think it just like kind of like symbolizes how a lot of people kind of have like this limited thinking, or they kind of put ceilings and boxes within themselves and their own thoughts. And for me, it was from day one, I never did that. And that's kind of like the main thing that I attribute to my success, because nothing else could have happened if I didn't think so big and have kind of that limitless mindset.
Yeah, I think what you said is key. A lot of our family and friends, they'll try and put us down and tell us we can't do it. And we have to not listen to them and have that limitless thinking so that we can grow and so we can do the things that we know we can do. I mean, like you said, if they can do it, how come I can't do it? Having that thought. So is there any books that you read that kind of helped you with this? I mean, a lot of what you're talking about is in Think and Grow Rich. Is there any books that you had read?
Yeah, so I had actually read Think and Grow Rich, but I don't think I read that one until I was like 2021. The first book that I read when I decided to become an entrepreneur was a book by MJ DeMarco called Millionaire Fastlane.
Mhm.
And that was like an amazing book because a lot of the stuff that, my friends and family were saying, like, oh no, you should go to college first, you should wait it out, yada, yada, yada. He kind of like dispelled those myths, and he kind of just like, it's like almost a parallel of like working like a 9 to 5 job versus being an entrepreneur, and kind of showing like the course of life that those two paths go through. And so that one was like big for me because like it really validated a lot of the initial thoughts that I had in my own mind.
Mhm.
That was a good question. And, entrepreneurs can be even, my family business is insurance. Well, when you're an insurance agent, or if you're a real estate agent, you're still an entrepreneur. You're running your own company, so to speak, even though you're working under an umbrella. So there's so many different levels and types. It can be a hobby, but it may be still a business that you're still running your own business and making your own decisions on that. How did your family react to your success once you started making it?
Yeah, it was definitely something that they quickly started supporting me. I think like initially their thing was like they kind of thought it was just like a phase I was going through and that it was just gonna pass. So like initially they were just like, oh, as long as you're going to school, like everything's okay, it's all good. And then once I kind of started achieving some success, and I eventually told them like, hey, I'm gonna drop out and stuff like that. They were still very, very supportive of it, and still like to this day very proud of me and stuff like that. I think their whole concern from the beginning was that, like they just kind of wanted the best for me, and they just didn't want me to like make a rash or illogical decision that affects the rest of my life. So I really understood where they kind of came from initially, but I think now it's like, they have like the utmost confidence in me, and they're like extremely happy with, the path that I'm taking and what I'm doing. And I think a part of it is also it's like an educational process for them as well to really understand what it is that entails kind of entrepreneurship, because they themselves didn't really know it that well. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and talking about your other book, The Pursuit of Passion, I think a lot of people get stuck, whether they're in a job or they've created a business that they actually don't like anymore. So they're not passionate about it, and then that's why they don't grow. So I know for me, this last 5 years with helping other people publish their books, I've had a passion for that, and it's really helped my business grow. Where I was like you, I did like a web design marketing type SEO company, and it was fun getting people top of Google search, but I didn't have that passion as much as I do for publishing authors. And so I didn't really get it to grow. So tell us a little bit about like how to get unstuck, or how do you decide like, okay, I'm going to go for my passion now. How do you do that transition?
hmm Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I've always been like super impatient. So like after working for 2 years, I was just like, I'm never going to do this again. And I was like, I don't care what that means. I do, but I'm not going to do this. I think for people, it's just a matter of like commitment, because there's a lot of fear and a lot of risk that's involved with it. But to me, I've always said, I'd rather do something extremely risky and enjoy every bit of it than live extremely secure, hating every moment of it. And so I think like kind of with like what you said as well, like when you work on something that's kind of like your passion, it doesn't really even feel like work. Like to me, like every day, it's like I don't care if it's Monday or if it's Saturday, like it's not really work to me, and I enjoy every minute of it. So it's extremely easy for me to kind of wake up and do the things that I want to do. But for a lot of people, who are kind of like creating this definitive schedule in their mind because they're trying to escape that work or that 9 to 5 or whatever it is, it ends up being extremely like traumatizing almost, or stressful for them. And so I think the biggest thing is like people just have to kind of take a leap of faith and just kind of remind themselves like, we only get one life. And um, sometimes it's going to be scary, sometimes it's going to be risky and stuff like that, but as long as we kind of put our mind to it, and sometimes you can just even take baby steps. Like a lot of people come to me with advice, and I never tell them quit your job or drop out of school or do something that rash. It's just like, okay, create a couple extra hours a day and just work on this passion of yours and see what happens. And then once your passion gets bigger than your 9 to 5 or your school degree or whatever it is, then you can go all in. So that'd probably be my best advice.
That's good advice. So tell us, what is some of the great technology that you're using in your company now? What's working for you tech-wise and social media-wise?
Yeah, absolutely. So tech-wise, I'm super excited about like artificial intelligence. I think that's like really going to be the new wave in the future. So we're finding like different ways to implement those technologies to kind of, whether it's like automate our marketing or even automate stuff within the businesses themselves. And in terms of like social media marketing, I'm super excited about kind of like Instagram. I think Instagram has a lot of potential, especially with like influencer marketing and stuff like that. I think that's kind of like the new wave of marketing, and there's a lot of potential with it. And another thing that we really use heavily within our businesses right now.
Yeah. Go a little deeper into the AI. How are you, some of the tools that you're using in AI, is there any specific things that you can point people to that they can look up themselves to maybe use for their business?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we've been kind of in the process of doing is we're kind of developing some AI tools that are going to help us like kind of help us automate a lot of the processes, such as like hiring, or some of the processes such as like we do a lot of stuff with software. So like documentation of like everything that's done is extremely important. So we're kind of building out these technologies where instead of us having to hire somebody that's got to sit there and kind of do these tedious tasks all day long, we're kind of using artificial intelligence to automate a lot of this stuff. So a lot of the stuff that we do is kind of like built internally in-house, just because it's like very specific for our business. But I think like for people that are just kind of looking into AI stuff, I think there's a lot of like good resources out there, like free resources out there where people can learn how to kind of implement AI into their businesses or stuff like that. So I'd kind of recommend people to kind of start there.
Okay. Yeah.
For data.
Yeah, one of the fun ones that we like, I don't know if you've heard of this app or not, it's a website too, but it's Otter, OTTER.ai. And it's an artificial intelligence that will transcribe anything that you speak or record. So it's pretty cool because you can get transcription very easily now with talk to text. And so we really like that. So tell us a little bit about what you're working on now and what services you offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now I'm kind of working mainly on one of my passion projects, which is called the Income Incubator. And so over the years, I've had a lot of people that have kind of come to me that have asked me for help with starting a business and kind of getting their ideas off the ground. And I've been fortunate enough to launch like 10 different companies in the last 8 years. I've had a lot of failures, have had a lot of successes, sold 2 companies. And so I pretty much decided to put together kind of like an academy that I look at as like an alternative to college for a lot of people. And so pretty much in this academy, I teach people 7 different business models that I achieved great success with. And I just kind of teach it from start to finish and kind of mentor students and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of been a passion project of mine that I've been working on very heavily. And yeah, and it's an awesome venture. We've already had a lot of students that have had successes starting 6-figure, 7-figure businesses. So it's been super exciting.
Great. Where can people go to find that?
Yeah, they can just check out the website. It's called theincomeincubator.com. So THEINCOMEINCUBATOR.com.
Great. Well, we'll put that link up at the bottom and in the show notes. It's Income Incubator or theincomeincubator.com.
Yep.
Awesome. Is there anywhere else that people can go to find more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a personal website as well, which is jeetbanerjee.com. My first and last name spelled JeetBanerjee.com. And it's got my social media links, email, blog, and all the stuff that I've done over the years if people want to check it out.
Perfect. Great. Well, people can go and check you out there, and they can see that link up on YouTube, or if they're listening to the podcast, they can go and check out our blog post and see the links there as well and in the show notes.
Jeet, thanks for coming by today, and thanks for an awesome podcast. If you would like to keep listening to us, make sure you subscribe, because we let you know ahead of time who's coming on. You get bumpers, you get notifications of all our great guests. So make sure that you subscribe to your podcast and share it. We would love you to share it with everybody. So we'll see you next time. And remember, if you're thinking about becoming an author, look us up at eliteonlinepublishing.com, where we can make you a #1 bestseller. See you soon.
Bye. Thanks.
If you'd like to create the most powerful advertising tool for your business, contact us at eliteonlinepublishing.com, where we will help you create, publish, and make your book a #1 bestseller, and show you how to get new leads and more revenue for your business. If you'd like to check us out on our Facebook page, we have a free book for you as our gift. Just go and click free book. Remember to subscribe and leave a comment for our podcast. We would love to hear from you.